Hi, my name is Kat. I'm a constituent of yours from Minneapolis. I have a two-part question for you. Um, Obviously, what's been going on in Minnesota has been completely unacceptable. We've had people murdered on our streets. We've had people harmed in every possible way, the least of it emotionally, it feels like, even though that's been really terrible too. And it feels like sometimes the rest of the country, including Democrats in the House and the Senate, are not listening to how dire this situation is. I'm at a loss for how many more people need to die or be physically maimed or other things, horrible things to happen in our community and in other communities around the country before Congress acts. Part of why we're in this problem in the first place is because of the funding bill last year that did give ICE all of this funding, which was congressional. And also because Congress has failed to pass comprehensive immigration reform leading up until this point. So my question for you is two parts. One, what is happening immediately, like over the next, let's say, month to fix this problem? Like what is going on? What are you doing? What are the big things you're thinking about to address this issue? And two, longer term, it feels a little bit like some of the Democrats in Congress think that progressives or liberal leaning people are just going to default support them no matter what they do. And that has led to some complacency, I think, in the party. What are you doing to address that and thinking more long term going forward?
No, I mean, I think you're right. As I said earlier, when we had about 27 of my colleagues come into Minnesota, we hosted a dinner for them and we invited community members to come in and give, a 3-minute update on what they're seeing. And almost all of them remarked on the fact that they didn't think things were that bad. And then when we did the field hearing, that was almost unanimous in saying, you could, like, in real life see, if you watch the live stream of that, their mouths dropping, right, at the incidents that were being described by the witnesses. And when we had the young woman who was pulled out of her car that had the disability, that was going to her doctor's appointment, who's going to be my State of the Union guest. Yeah, thank you. But like when she testified, it was the same thing. People were saying, like, people didn't understand, right? And I try every day to try to explain to my colleagues that there is not going to be a 2-minute, interview clip or a 5-minute interview clip where it can be captured, the level of devastation we have experienced. There's the physical harm. There's the terror. I was telling them the other day, you have men in paramilitary fatigue who are masked, who are carrying military style weapons. And there is 10, 15 of them walking down your block. And if you are a kid, if you are an adult, if you are someone, who's not me, who lived through a war, and, that is something that you've seen before, it is very traumatizing, right? I was last in a combat zone when I was 8, and to this day, like, the sight of that, it still triggers me. And a lot of our colleagues who have military background have been just expressing, right, how different it is even for them when they were in the battlefield, the way that they would carry themselves when they walked in neighborhoods, because they wanted the people not to be scared of them. And that the way that ICE is walking in our neighborhoods is actually like what they were told not to do. And so I think slowly since that hearing, a lot more people are, I think, fully waking up to the reality of what Minnesotans have been living with, which is, why without, I think, much pushback, we were able to get an official position from the Progressive Caucus to say we're not going to vote for DHS funding. That's why without like a big public debate, all the Democrats coalesced, whether they're in the Senate or in the House, And so I do think that a lot of that work has been done because those of us who represent Minnesota have been having these conversations in our caucus rooms, at Crescendo, at every opportunity that we get with our colleagues, trying to impress on them. So in the short term, we have the 10 demands. One, we want ICE out of our city. Our state. We want the masks to come off. We want the military grade weapons to go away. We want a clear identification of which agency they are with. We want the plates to stop switching in the cars. We want the terror to end. And so that's in the immediate what we are fighting for, to try to just at least get some accountability. We're also fighting to make sure that there is independent investigation to the assassination of two of our neighbors, right? We also want an investigation to the shooting of the Venezuelan man in North Minneapolis, where the agents were clearly found to have lied, that he was a threat to them. And so those are some of the things that we're doing. And obviously, I was asked earlier, I do believe Democrats understand that there is a moment to be met. And if they do not, they are not winning re-election. I don't think that that's a secret to a lot of my colleagues. Almost every person who hasn't been vocal has a primary challenger. A lot of the people who have been there, way too long and have lost touch with their constituents have primary challengers. So people are feeling the heat, and it is important for us to keep that heat on.